Hey, so I just finished watching Andor on Disney Plus, and before I get into the show itself, I just have to mention and comment on that Disney Plus as a service, as a platform, is utter crap. Um, as in, like, technically, I had issues watching this series, and yeah, I'm gonna comment about it because it was very, very annoying. Like, I could not play the next episode when I clicked on it. Thank you, phone. Um, I had to go back one episode and wait for that to finish, so then the Disney Plus would skip automatically to the next episode, even though that episode I had difficulty playing. There was no sense. It just kept looping. I don't know if anyone else experienced it. It's greatly annoying, and Disney Plus can't remember where I made it to. Like for any show or anything, like on Netflix, the first thing you have is continue watching either movie or TV series, or if you finish an episode, the next episode. Disney Plus doesn't seem to be able to do that. And when an episode finishes, I can't find any ways to go back and see, all its episodes or seasons like as a list. It's it's not even bare minimum. It's below standard. Oh, yeah, it's really bad. And then unique. I don't know if it's unique, but what I experienced to Andor is that there's a skip resume button, which is nice. Put that in if you're gonna keep making resume for every episode. Then have a skip resume button. However, it wasn't translated correct. I'm not a native English speaker, and it wasn't. And then once you skip the resume, you get a skipped intro, which is nice because intros aren't really that good. Very few shows have intros worth watching. You just want to skip it. On Disney Plus, when watching Andor, when I pressed skip intro, it doesn't skip the intro. It takes me straight to the logo, which is part of the intro, and it just says Andor, and that's what I wanted to skip. I don't want to watch the Andor logo. I just want to go to the first frame after the logo, after the intro. It's just some text. There's nothing happening. There's just some bland music and a somewhat half decent logo saying Andor. I wanted to skip that. I don't want to watch it. But it didn't. Every time I pressed skip intro, it went straight to the Andor logo. Ugh. I can't believe that Disney is charging my sister good money for Disney Plus. Oh boy. Well, that was the Disney platform. Disney Plus, Disney minus platform. Ugh. Now, Andor, the show itself. As per usual, I'll try and keep it spoiler free. I found Andor is very removed from Star Wars. Too much removed, or at least from what I consider to be Star Wars. And believe you me, I've been really happy to see whatever we have of Star Wars going on to not be called the Skywalkers. I'm very happy to leave everyone named Skywalker or Solo or anything related to that behind. As you might have guessed, I'm quite the gamer and have been for, let's say, 20 years by now. I'm 36, so yeah, that's probably fair. Between the Star Wars original movies and the pre-trilogy and the new trilogy, sequel trilogy, if you only watch Star Wars as movies, there hasn't been much going on. But if you played video games, there has been plenty of Star Wars, plenty of stories, and I also read some of the books. Actually, quite a lot of the books. There's a lot of Star Wars outside the movies, and a lot of it has been really, really good. And a lot of the things that has been really good has not been related to anyone called Skywalker. And we have video games specifically that proves that a lot. So that's what I've been saying. The thing, the IP, the whole thing is called Star Wars, not the Skywalkers. Unlike Harry Potter, seems to be always have to connect to Harry Potter. This is Star Wars. We can do without Skywalkers. There are other Jedi's. Like I'm playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, a lot recently. Ain't no Skywalkers in that. Still very, very good. So, so back on track. Andor. I think it. I think it gets too removed. Like as a season, as the first season, I found the story, too weak, too short, but too light. Like not a lot that I could engage with happened. Again, trying to keep it spoiler free, but it's like a heist and a prison break. It has a Star Wars coding. It actually had quite a good amount of coding. It looked nice. I think a lot of it was shot on models and sets. But I want something else when I'm thinking Star Wars than a heist movie and a prison break. It's not the worst. I don't think it's the worst Star Wars show. But thinking what would be the best, I just think all of the Star Wars shows have been, like on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, they've been okay, and you can certainly do worse than Andor. Like Obi-Wan had a lot of things that didn't make it good. But I'm finding it difficult to recommend because I didn't really enjoy it that much. I think this show suffers a lot that or my experience with Andor suffered that I had to wait. If I try to watch a few episodes, like this is definitely a show where I need to watch a few episodes at a time to get some cohesive story, because I kind of lose track of characters if it goes wrong, and I hate that about Disney Plus. I get the corporate greedy sensitive to do one episode a week, but I don't like it. So I've waited. I mean, that's also why you see there's movies out now. I had to wait for the whole thing to finish. And then I watched during the Christmas break. So and I think the show, because it has a lot of cloak and daggers and names and spies and that, my experience was suffered that I had to try and keep track of that in between episodes. What happens, of course, when you wait is, as you go about your business on the internet, you are increasingly in danger of getting things spoiled. I had a line and the situation kind of spoiled for me, but I only knew that it was related to Andor. I didn't really know anything about it. There's a line of, someone who's not able to do a thing. I'm really trying to not spoil it, because if you're a Star Wars fan like me, maybe your curiosity is too big and you want to watch it. And it's not bad. It's just not very good, I think. So I had this situation spoiled to me, that one line. So then when I get to the situation, I was blank. I wasn't feeling anything. And the spoiler was because it was mentioning a situation where other viewers, I could tell, was very engaged and felt something on a character's behalf. They felt sad and hopeless and despair for this character, and I'm just sitting there, no, this situation is not good. This is weird. I'm hoping it makes sense if I'm trying to make it spoiler free. I have one last point before I go. At some point, people are doing manual labor in this show, like hard, intense. They're mentioning, we are working a lot physical. But there are so many droids and robots in Star Wars. It made no sense to me. And they have lines that says, we're actually doing this labor because of reasons. That's why they're not using droids. But it's just weird. no, the show didn't really come together. Wasn't a good experience. Like it could have been anything. It's set in the Star Wars universe. It doesn't have to be, Sith, Jedi, lightsaber. It was, yeah, it could be a heist and a prison break in any shows, or in any world. Like you could have made this into Harry Potter without changing much of it. I think there's a big issue with things being made these days, these sort of TV shows, because they're tied to Disney Plus, they're tied to a subscription. That I don't know where to get engaged when Andor yet. And you can say, oh, give it a few more seasons. It shouldn't take this many seasons. Like we've all seen shows. I've seen shows or movies or games that get me hooked in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Like I can still remember how engaged I was with Game of Thrones after the first episode. Like, whoa, I'm on board with this. And I'm not with Andor, and I'm not with a lot of things. And I have a very clear. It's very obvious to me that they made Andor without an ending. And I've talked a lot about games and movies. Like I'm affected by the ending. So if the ending's bad, it drags the whole experience down for me. I don't know if you feel the same, but that's how I feel. So yeah, I was also especially marked by Game of Thrones. And I don't see where Andor is going. It can go in there. I don't think they know. I think Disney is just trying to cast out a wide net and see what sticks, is what the fans are going for with Star Wars. And I can tell it feels scatterbrained somehow. But I of course don't know that. It's speculations. And if you're here for Andor, or my review, my take, my opinion on Andor is that you can do worse, even within Star Wars. But yeah, it's a little bland. I feel a little mediocre. My curiosity will not allow me to not watch these things as long as they're branded Star Wars. But you can do better. You can do better. Thank you for listening to me.